This episode of Techzilla is brought to you by CrashPlan. As we mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago, I actually, my iPhone went swimming with the fishes.
Right.
It went into the deep depths of the Pacific
It tried to go
Ocean.
surfing.
Yeah, so I've been using this HTC One with Jelly Bean for the past week, and I like it! I like it! I'm not sure if I'll keep it around once, you know, old Goldilocks comes knocking on September 10th.
The iPhone 5 Gold is all hell edition.
We shall see. But my first course of action, of course, was to get my contacts onto this phone, because I didn't have a SIM card that I could just take out of my iPhone and transfer to a different phone.
You had a SIM card, it was in the Pacific Ocean.
It was in the phone. And I may not have used the best possible method out there, but I used the method that worked for me. And it was the one that just popped into my head. Obviously, it was the easiest kind of thing to do at a drop of a hat. So actually, I had all of my contacts on my iPhone saved to my Contacts app on my Mac, which is pretty typical. A lot of people sync their contacts between that app.
Sure.
And so that way, I was able to actually take those contacts and export them to a .csv file, which I could then import into my Google account contacts list. So that way it actually tagged it separately. So I have a whole separate section, tagged section of iPhone contacts on my Google account. So once I tied my one to my Google account, I could then choose that iPhone contacts collection as my primary address book for the phone. So then, bam, all my contacts were pretty much in there. Then I linked those contacts with my social networks, which the phone found connections for automatically.
You didn't have to do manually then?
No, it has a whole separate page where it says, you know, recommended links, and then you click the little link button or connect all of them, and then it does a really good job of finding the right people and connecting them to their contact information.
I'm visiting the phone going, hi, we roll with Google, so we already know everything about you and who you talk to.
Kind of scary.
Would you like to automatically fill in this information?
Yeah, the only thing I missed was my photos for my contacts on my iPhone did not transfer over in those CSV files. So I lost all my photos of my contacts.
Even the wacky ones of your friends in compromised positions?
Exactly, but it's like you. But it did actually import, you know, the social contact photos into there. So that was it worked that way, I guess. But the main thing that I had to get used to were the buttons at the bottom. I know, multiple buttons, crazy.
This is weird.
Mayhem.
There's a return key.
So now, as most of you know, the home button on the One will either take you to Google Now if held down, or to your open apps if you double tap, or it'll just take you to your home screen if it's tapped once. So this took some getting used to initially, because I'm used to having just, you know, a one or a two tap kind of situation.
Two tap, boom, there's my apps.
And I had to figure out how to close apps, because that was different from other Android devices, and I didn't. Now I actually have to think about closing applications and not using up all the RAM on the phone. So that was another thing to think about. But organizing all the widgets and the layouts has been really fun. I downloaded a launcher for my phone called Smart Launcher, actually after our Techzilla Hangout the other day.
If you haven't seen it, youtube.com/Techzilla. Look for our last Hangout. Robert, Veronica, and I get hang out.
So that was cool. So I've got a really nice, pretty slick launcher on my phone now that I'm kind of in love with. I also downloaded a Jarvis theme for my phone, because, you know, Jarvis. But downloading apps has been pretty interesting. Some apps translate really well, like TripIt and Instagram, while others, like 1Password, look like they're kind of straight out of the 80s. So, you know, I'm now starting to understand the disparity in app development, that culture that kind of exists, where an app developer focuses on iOS and kind of leaves Android to the wayside.
Well, it seems to be that the developers seem to be able to make more money on iOS,
so they go to that first.
Spend more time on that than
and then
on
my
Android.
beloved Fitbit. You can see you'll get to see my fancy pants.
Walk around. Let's see the fancy pants, ladies and gentlemen. Veronica Belmont, fancy pants, available at J.Crew.
But my little
pan that camera.
But my little fancy, my Fitbit that I love. Okay, I'm going back now. It doesn't sync with this device. It only syncs for Android for various Samsung Android devices.
Why?
That's just how it works. It's something about their sync technology and how they use Bluetooth. It doesn't work with all Android devices yet, just iOS and
Another irritating Android thing.
That made me a little sad, you know, because there's so many different iterations of Android out there. Not everything works on every phone, but I'm starting to get used to that part. But then Patrick, you also recommend the Lifehacker pack for Android 2013, which is just an incredible list of applications that have been Lifehacker researched and tested.
Lifehacker vetted. Well, they do this for like every operating system on the planet. You know, Android, Windows, OS 10, iOS, Linux. We love Lifehacker. It's a good crew down there.
So I got a lot of
packs are awesome.
A lot of great suggestions from that, and finally the best suggestion I got was AirDroid from this list, which I'm going to do a segment about. I may have already done a segment about in the future past.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, it's confusing when we pre-tape shows. But I'm still very much in the Android for Dummies phase, so if you guys have any tips for me, any must-have applications or things that I should do to this phone, let me know. Techzilla@revision3.com. We talk a lot about backing up your computers here on Techzilla, and one of our favorite services to do it with is CrashPlan. CrashPlan keeps your data secure. The program creates a 448-bit encryption and private key option, making it practically impenetrable without your password. And it's truly unlimited. You get complete protection of your non-stop digital life without sneaky speed bumps, file size limits, or time-sensitive file deletions. CrashPlan retains all of your data, even from disconnected external drives, until you decide otherwise. While other plans allow you to go back in time, only CrashPlan enables you to get what you want, including any file or folder at any backup state. No daily or yearly version limits, and absolutely no time limits. To learn more, just head over to www.crashplan.com/Techzilla.